Now that the choir has warmed up, I expect you to sing through the rest of the service as well. We'll see how that goes. We'll begin with Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming in Shabbat with Yedid Nefesh. We will welcome in not just by singing with our bodies, but also with our souls. Page 3, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Avarachaman, Mishoch Avdach, Eritzonach, Yarutz Avdach, Kimo Ayal, Yishtachavel, Muhatarach, Yerav lo Yedidutach, Mina Fetzuv, Bechol Tam, Adonai, Ziv Haolam, Nafshi Cholat, Ahavadcha, Anal Narefan Allah, Beharat La, Noam Sivach, As Titchasek, V'titrapei, V'haitalach, Simchat Olam, V'tihyemu, Narachamecha, V'chusanal, Bein Ahuvecha, Ki Zekama, Nitzaf Lirot, B'tiferet, Uzach, Anayli, Chendach Libi, Chusana, Bial Titalam, Igalena, Ufros Chaviv Alai, Et Sukkot Shilomecha, Ta'er Eretz Mikvorcha, Nagila v'nismechavach, Maher ahuv kivamoed, V'cha'neinu kimei olam. Top of page 5. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena lanai. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, nikad mafana bitoda. Naria, naria, letzur yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Bottom of the page. Arba'im shana kupitov yamarim to'ele vavheim, ve'hem lo yadu drachai, asher nishbati v'yapi, im yivaun, amenu chati. Top of page 6. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruch shemo, Basru miyom liyom Yeshuato, Sapru v'goyim kivahoto, Bechol hamim niflahotav, Ki gadol Adonai, Hulal me'od. Please join me to all of us together on page 7, Psalm 97 in English. Adonai reigns, let the earth rejoice. Let the many islands be glad. Clouds and darkness encircle God. Righteousness and justice support God's throne. A fire goes before God and burns up God's circling enemies. God's lightning illuminates the earth sees and trembles. The mountains melt like wax at the presence of Adonai, in the presence of the Master of all the earth. The heavens declare God's righteousness, and all the peoples see God's glory. Towards the end of the of page 8. Or zaru Allah tzadik, uli yishrei lehi simcha. Or zaru Allah tzadik, uli yishrei lehi simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hahodu lezecher kahadsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hahodu lezecher kahadsho. The bottom of page 10, please join me. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kahadsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kahadsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. On page 12, we read together in English Psalm 29, a psalm of David. Grant to Adonai, O children of might, grant to Adonai glory and strength. Grant to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow low to Adonai in the beauty of holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters. The glory of God thunders. Adonai is over many waters. The voice of Adonai in strength. The voice of Adonai in majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks the cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. Adonai makes them skip like a calf. Lebanon and Sirion like a wild ox. The voice of Adonai sparks flames of fire. The voice of Adonai shakes the wilderness. Adonai shakes the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai moves the deer to birth and strips bare the forest. While in God's sanctuary all say, glory. Adonai reigned at the flood. Adonai will reign as sovereign forever. Adonai will give strength to God's people. Adonai will bless God's people with peace. On page 13, Lecha Dodi, we'll do the first 4 paragraphs and then the last paragraph where we rise and face the entrance to the sanctuary. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmaho echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'lit chila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, merosh mikerem nesucha, saf maaseh mashavat chila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzi mitoch afecha, Rav lach shevet b'yemek chabacha, v'hu yachamo alayich chamla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Itnari me'afar kumi, livshi bigdei tifartechami. Al yad ben Yishai beit halachmi, karva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Please rise. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'tzahala, tochem unei Am Sigula, Bo'i Chala, Chadoti, Mikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabela. Please be seated. Continue on page 16. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Tov Lahodot L'Adonai, Uzamer L'Shimcha Elyon, Uzamer L'Shimcha Elyon, L'Hagid Ba'boker Chastecha, V'yemunatcha Ba'leilot, Alei Asar Ve'alei Navel, Alei Higayon Bechinor, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Tov Lahodot L'Adonai, Uzamer L'Shimcha Elyon, Uzamer L'Shimcha Elyon. Third line on page 17. Tzadikat Amar Yifrach Ki Erez Alvanon Yisgeh Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Oh, Yenuvun B'Seva D'Shenim V'Rananim Yehu L'Hagid Ki Ashar Adonai Tzuri V'Lo Avlatabo. Page 18, Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish. Those who are saying Kaddish have yahrzeit. Those who would like to rise and remember our Jewish brothers and sisters who perished in Israel since October 7th, please do so. Page 18. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shmei Rabbah. V'yalma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yamechon uv'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach li'olam u'mei almayav yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kedusha richu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'yalma v'yimru amen, yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, v'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. We remain standing for Mariv service on page 21. Now that we've welcomed in Kabbalat Shabbat, the Shabbat Queen, we continue with Mariv. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher b'dvaro mariv ha'aravim, b'chachma patech she'arim, v'bivuna mishaneh heitim u'machlifet hazmanim. Please be seated. Top of page 22. Umavir yom u'mevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzivahot shemo, El chai v'kayam, Tamid yimloch aleinu li'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. We continue on page 23, Ahavat Olam, with everlasting love. Avat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Havta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shachveinu uvkumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha li'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvahem negeh yomam v'layla yavatecha al tasir mimeno li'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Page 26. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol miyotecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher nochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha leveitecha u'lachtecha havaderech u'v'shachbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam liota yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktaftam amezuzot beitecha u'visharecha. We continue silently until the middle of page 28. L'man yirbu yimechem v'imei v'neichahem al hadama asher nishbar Adonai levatechem latet lachem kimei hashamayim al haaretz v'ayomer Adonai al Moshe lemor daber el b'nei Yisrael v'yamarta alehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei bigdehem ledoratam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf p'til tchelet v'haya lachem letzitzit uritem oto u'schartem ekol mitzvot Adonai v'yasitem otam v'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem asher atem zonim achareichem Leman tizkiru v'asitem b'kol mitzotai v'tem kiroshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem emet Adonai Elohechem emet. Middle of page 30. U'malchutaho b'ratzon kiblu aleichem Moshe v'nei Yisrael echanu shira v'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh Nara tehilot, O Seifele, Malchutecha, Rahuvanecha, Vokei Yom Lifnei Moshe, Zeilianu V'yamru, Adonai Imloch, Leolam Voed, V'nemar Kifarai Yaakov, Ugalo Miyad Chazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. On page 31, Hashkivenu, we ask God to protect us at night, to allow us to go to sleep at night, to have a good night's sleep, and then to wake up again in the morning. Let's read in the English. Cause us, eternal our God, to lie down for well-being, and help us arise, our ruler, to life. Spread over us the shelter of your well-being, and fix in us good counsel in your presence. Save us for the sake of your name, and shield us. Keep far from us enmity, illness, strife, hunger, and fear. Keep oppressors from confronting or pursuing us. Let us be covered by the shadow of your wings. For you are our protector and helper. Mercy and compassion is your rule. Guard our going out and our coming in for life and for well-being from this time forth and forever. And if you notice it going through this in the Hebrew, the word for shelter is sukkah. And we ask God to protect us with his sukkah of shalom, sukkah of peace. And when you think of a sukkah, you think of something it's sort of flimsy. Why would they use the term sukkah here? It's to really embellish and to let you know the power of God, that even though you think it's only a flimsy kind of sukkah, the power behind that sukkah is really God who is protecting us. Top of page 32. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, baruch atah Adonai, aparei sukat shalom, aleinu yakol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Continue. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-shabbat, laso et ha-shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-shabbat, laso et ha-shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti li'olam, oti li'olam, oti li'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-shabbat, laso et ha-shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim v'et haaretz, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-shabbat, lasot et ha-shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. I gotta say, you were a little weak with the woos. Tomorrow at Kiddush, you'll have another opportunity. I expect it to be a little bit better than that. It's too late now. Please rise, Chatzi Kaddish on page 33. Yikara v'yikara shemei rabba, Yamadi rachute v'yamlich machute, B'chayechon u'v'yamechon, U'chayenecha b'ek Yisrael, Bagala, U'v'zman chariv, V'yimeru, Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach, Le'olam le'omei omaya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, Yitbarit Ramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitatar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, Shemene Kodesha, B'richu, Le'yehila, min kol birchata, v'shirata, Tushbechata, v'nechemata, Damiran b'yalma, v'yimeru, Amen. The Amida, which we say silently on page 35. Once again, as I mentioned, you can use the Sidurim for the Amida or whatever way you would like to contemplate the week to come, the week that was. We begin on page 35. Ose shalom bimramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Please be seated. We continue in the middle of page 46. Magen avot bidvaro, mechaye metim b'mamaro, Shein kamohu ameniach liyamo biyom Shabbat kadsho kivam ratza lehaniach lahem kivam ratza lehaniach lahem lefanav navod mirav v'fachad v'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid me'ein habrachot el hahodot adon hashalom mikadesh hashabbat umvarech shvi umeniach b'kedusha Yamidu shnei oleg zecher lemasei bereishi. Page 48. Yitkara v'yikara shmei rabah v'yamani v'rachi v'tev yom lichmachutei v'chayechonu v'yamechonu v'chayerechol be'Yisrael v'agalav yizman kari v'yimeru. Amen. Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam Yomei Omaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipar V'troma V'yinasei V'yitadar V'yitala V'yitala Shemei L'Kudusha Richu Le'ela Michal Birchata V'shirata Tishvechata V'nachamata Damiram B'yama V'yimeru. Amen. Yehei Shalom Rab Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Yisrael V'yimeru. Amen. Tirka Be'al Sultan Amatchonu Chal Yisrael. Adam Avahodi B'Shmaya V'yimeru. Amen. Seh Shalom B'Imramav Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'Yal Chal Yisrael V'yimeru. Amen. So I thought that this evening I would relate to you what I would call a nice little Shabbat story on Shabbat. So in this week's Torah portion of Emor, there is a section known as Moadim. And this section is all about the holidays of the year on the Jewish calendar, giving the date of each of the holidays, and starting, of course, with the first holiday in the first month, which is Passover, and it continues with all of the holidays through the year, ending up with Sukkot, and the way that the parsha continues and then ends up, that particular section of Moadim, it concludes with the verse that we sing, that we recite each of the holiday mornings for the morning Kiddush. So for example, on Shabbat we sing Shamru. The entire Kiddush basically for the holidays is Vayiraber Moshe et Moadei Ad Hashem El Bnei Yisrael, and Moses spoke all of the holidays to the children of Israel. All right, so that's very nice for this week's Torah portion, but what does that have to do with the Shabbos story that I mentioned? I'm glad you asked. Shabbat is really not a moed. A moed is a holiday, and in that sense, Shabbat is really not considered a holiday. It comes every week, obviously. But what Shabbat is considered is a holiday of holidays, that all the holidays of the year flow from Shabbat, Shabbat the Malkah, Shabbat the Queen. Anyway, the story goes like this, and it's told of Rav Yosef Dov Soloveitchik, who was at that particular time the Rav of the city of Brisk. In English, it's Brest-Litovsk. In Yiddish, it's Brisk. He was the Brisker Rav. He's also known in Jewish religious parlance as Beit Ashkenazic, Beis Levi. because all of the Soloveitchiks were Levim, and that was the pseudonym that he used for his book, like so many other great scholars have done. Achad Ha'am, for example. He lived approximately in the middle of the 1800s, passed away in 1898. So this is of the 19th century. So the story goes that the Rav comes home after Shabbos services one Shabbos morning, and suddenly there's a loud banging at his front door. And he goes to the door to open it, and there is a member of his community, and this person is all out of breath. And the Rav can tell that the man is very pained, he's got a lot of stress, there's a lot of things that must be going on in his life. And the Rav asks the man whether he needs help. Can I help you? And the man explains this very sad story that his daughter has been in labor for 3 days, and the doctors are now telling him that it doesn't look very promising, that there's a good chance that she and that the baby she is carrying will not survive. And this man asked the Rav, can you pray for them? And the Rav looked at the man and asked him, did you make Kiddush yet? Remember, it's Shabbos after services, you come home and make Kiddush. So he asked the man, did you make Kiddush yet? The man looked at him like, his daughter and her baby are about to die, and he's asking if he made Kiddush. He said no, he hadn't. So the Rav said, let's make Kiddush. After Kiddush, the Rav said to him, you probably haven't had your Shabbos meal yet. The man says, really, I have no appetite. I'm worried about my daughter. He said, come, let's eat. Join me for the Shabbos meal. And the man was a little perplexed, but of course, this is the Rav of the community. He did whatever he said. He put his faith into the Rav. And after the meal, the Rav asked, did you enjoy the meal? And the man said, yes, very much. He said, good. Then let's go say Birkat HaMazon, let's bench. And upon finishing Birkat HaMazon, the Rav quickly sent the man to the hospital to see how his daughter was doing, to see how she was progressing. And the man returned a little more than an hour later to announce that everything was fine. She gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Bris was going to come up the next Shabbos. That's just a little side to this. But that everyone was fine, but that he still was very puzzled. He asked the Rav, why didn't you just pray for them? Why did we have to eat the Shabbos meal? And the Rav explained, when you rejoice in connection with God, he will fulfill all your heart's requests. In this week's Torah portion, I mentioned that the holidays are mentioned in the Torah, but that the section begins with Shabbat. And Shabbat has nothing to do with the holidays. The Zohar talks about Shabbat being our energy, our source of energy for the entire week. Through Shabbat, we are energized for the next 6 days. And the same thing happens with the holidays. The holidays are also charged through Shabbat. It's like we and the holidays take our cue and our energy all from Shabbat. Shabbat is a gift that God gave to the entire world, and it's a gift of time, a day of rest, but also a day to delight, to set aside the rest of the week and to just delight in and enjoy Shabbat. When you delight in Shabbat with God, you don't have to verbalize your needs. God hears them anyway. He hears your heart. And this was the message that the Rav was trying to get through to the man who came knocking at his door that one Shabbat afternoon. This is why whenever there's a discussion in the Torah about the holidays, and it appears several times in the Torah, a going through of each of the holidays, it always begins with Shabbat. May you open your hearts to God on this Shabbat and all Shabbatot to come. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue with Aleinu on page 51. Please rise. John and Daisy, if you care to come forward and open up the ark for us. Page 51. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gidula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'gayei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim, Yosei Haaretz, Umoshav Yikaro Bashamayim Imal, Shechinatu Zo, Ushchinatu Zo, Igav Hei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu, Einod, Emet Malkeinu, Efesulato, Kakatu, Bitorato, Yadatayom, Vashevoto Eliva Vecha, Ki Adonai, Hu Elohim, Hashamayim, Nimal, V'al haaretz, mitachad, einod, einod.
Adonai's glorious dwelling is in the highest heaven. His mighty dominion is in the loftiness of the earth. This is our God. There is no other. God alone is our ruler, as it is written in the Torah. Know this day and take it to heart. Adonai is absolute in heaven and earth. There is no other.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad u'shemo. May be seated except for those who are saying Kaddish, who have Yortzeit, or who would like to stand and say Kaddish for those killed in Israel since October 7th. This week in our congregation, we'll remember the following friends, members, relatives: Barry Fask, brother of Ivy Fask; Joel Levy, brother of Scott Levy; Sadie Stein, grandmother of Ronnie Amernick; Jerome Ballas, father of Philip Ballas; Anita Sakowitz, the mother of Susan Davis; Max Amernick, grandfather of Stanley Amernick; David Denholz, father of Helen Schwartz; Benjamin Chayet, father of Cheryl Davidoff; Evelyn Field, mother of Paul Field, Irving Weiss, father of Barbara Kahn, Yitzchak Leibovitz, great-grandfather of Ivy Fask, Lila Chervin, sister of Flora Lurie, Ida Frankfurt, the grandmother of Philip Ballas. May their memories be for a blessing. Mourner's Kaddish, page 53. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'yalmad, Divrach, Yirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, V'agala, V'zman Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Li'alam Umei Amaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitramam, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shmei Kodisha, Brichu, Leila, Mikol, Birchata V'shirata, Tush V'chata, V'nechamata, Da'amiran B'yalma, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba, Amin Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu, V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imramav, V'yaseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Please be seated. A few announcements from our co-president, President Stanley Emmerich.
Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to see everybody here tonight. Coming here on Shabbat for dinner and services is like I feel the same as I had when I had with my family. And when I walk in, this is our family, and we're so happy that you all can be here. And we hope you'll continue to be here throughout the summer so we can have dinner together and pray together. First, I want to say two things. I want to first thank Jill and Hal Weiss for providing wine for dinner tonight. If you would like to sponsor to have wine served at the Friday nights, let me know, or Matt know, or Bernie know, and that would be a nice thing to do each week. The other thing I want to mention that is on June the 1st, our Manny Newmark is going to celebrate his 75th anniversary of his bar mitzvah, and he's going to recite his Haftorah here and have a wonderful luncheon. And he promised me he's going to try to wear his original bar mitzvah suit. So, tonight I have a guest person who's going to make the announcements for us.
Los servicios mañana a las 7:30 y el domingo a las 7, a las 10. El miércoles el jueves el rabino Beth nos va a dar un discurso sobre la situación de los palestinos en Israel. Y vamos a tener los servicios el viernes con también cena. La semana que viene. Gracias.
If you didn't understand the announcements, please pick up one of the bulletins outside. Or even better, you can come to services tomorrow, and Moshe Adler will do the announcements in his native tongue. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue with, or we'll conclude with Adon Olam on page 54, and then please, everyone, will meet for the Oneg in the Katz Pavilion. Adon Olam Asher Balach B'terem kol yitzir nivra, leit nasa v'chefza kol, azai melech shemo nikra, v'yacharei kichlota kol, levado himloch nora, v'hu haya v'hu hoveh, v'hu yiyeh b'tifara, v'hu echad v'yein sheni, lehamshilo lehachbira, b'li reshit, b'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz, v'hamisra, v'hu eli, v'chai gali, v'tzur chevli, v'yetzara, v'hu nisi, umanosli, minakosi, v'yomekra, v'yado, avki bruchi, v'yeti shan, v'yahira, v'imruchi, giviyati, Adonai li, v'lo yira. Shabbat shalom.